The Intermodal Association of North America developed a session for its 2012 Intermodal Operations and Maintenance Seminar that focused on the components of a roadside inspection based on the current North American standard inspection procedures developed by the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. This video is an abbreviated version of that session and visually illustrates the procedural steps followed by law enforcement when conducting a Level 1 roadside inspection. Because of space limitations during the session, only the front, left side, and rear of the chassis and container were inspected. During an actual inspection, duplicate right side items would also be inspected.
I'd like to introduce, if I can, now our Level 1 inspection team. The two troopers that are going to be doing the inspections today are Trooper Demetrio Torres. Demetrio has 18 years with Illinois State Police, all here in District Chicago. 13 years in commercial vehicles in District Chicago. For those of you that run the highways and the expressways and wonder what it's like to pull a unit over. And he's also Level 1 and Level 6 certified. The reason I say Level 6 is Level 6 is radioactive inspections. He actually does inspections of things that glow in the dark, as does his partner. So you can see there's kind of an aura about the two of them. They kind of stick together. His partner today is Craig Cordova. Trooper Cordova has 17 years with the Illinois State Police, also from District Chicago, 12 years in commercial vehicle enforcement, and both are certified in Level 1 and Level 6 inspectors. In addition to that, Demetrio is one of the few National Training Academy, NTC, certified instructors that actually teaches the Illinois State Police at their academy commercial vehicle enforcement, and he's able to certify them on the Level 3 program. So with that, gentlemen, we turn it over to you both.
We just pulled over this truck for purposes of an inspection. A couple different ways we would do that. One would be an obvious one if he didn't have his seatbelt on. We could pull him over for a moving violation, traffic violation, something of that sort, or we can just do a random inspection. Another tool we have at our use is a program, an ISS program that will plug in the US DOT number. That DOT number will give us a backup response, either a red, yellow, or green light. The red light meaning that this company's had a lot of violations. It's a good idea to inspect this company. Yellow would mean our discretion. It had some violations, so we can or can't. And then a green light on that company would mean he had many violations. So it's not recommended, but we still can do an inspection on that vehicle. So those are some of the ways we'll determine an inspection on that vehicle. With that, as soon as we go up to the driver, we're going to obviously let them know, we're here to do a Level 1 inspection, which means we're going to check brakes and lights, turn signals, and all that. It's also known as a DOT inspection, or sometimes as the drivers call them, why me inspection. So with that said, we're going to have Trooper Cordova go up to the driver and start the inspection.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. My name is Trooper Cordova with the Illinois State Police. I'm going to be conducting a motor carrier safety inspection on your truck. Do you have your license, and your medical card, and your registration card with you?
Yes.
So here he's going to check his driver's license. He's got to have hazmat endorsement because he's got placards on this vehicle. That's going to be one of our first questions is, what do you got? We're going to obviously want to see the paperwork for that. He's going to check his medical card. One of the new things in the out-of-service criteria is the medical card. If a driver's been warned before for not having a medical card and he's in the computer system as an inspection, not having the medical card, and now we stop him again today, and let's say he just forgot it, technically he's going to be out of service because he doesn't have a medical card. So if he has a warning or a previous inspection that was done on him, he's going to need that medical card on him at all times. Some of the states do go to the license where I think Indiana's one of them. If you have the license, then you have to show proof of medical card. So we'll know in that case he doesn't need to necessarily carry it. So here he's going to check the driver's got a logbook. It's one of those onboard recording devices. Driver should be able to operate it without any help from the trooper. Should be able to show him, his on-duty status, his driving statuses, his sleeper berth. Should be able to provide all that information for the last 8 days.
Again, the other thing that I would note is the driver has corrosive placards on the trailer. What I would then do is request his bills ask him what type of hazardous materials he has in the back, and then again, usually in the permit book, they would carry their U.S. hazmat registration for the transportation of hazardous materials. Also, when I go back to the car, I check to make sure he is, in fact, has a hazmat endorsement on his driver's license.
So here he would go back to the squad car, make sure our driver of the year doesn't have any warrants or speeding tickets. Once that's done, he's going to come back and everything's safe. He's going to come back, talk to the driver, and then begin his level 1 inspection where he's going to do check brakes, walk around the truck.
A couple things that we check in the cab, obviously, is a fire extinguisher, that it's charged and mounted. Another thing, he needs to have his warning devices. Usually they carry just the 3 triangles inside there. We'll check his windshield for any type of cracks, check his horn, check his wipers. Wipers not working during a time when they're required is considered out of service. Once we completed that, we would walk probably to the front of the truck, have him turn on all his lights, and then we'd start checking lights at the front of the vehicle.
So he's going to get up to after he's checking the lights in the front, he'll have the driver open up the hood, and we like to let the drivers do it just in case it breaks. He doesn't blame us. So it gets open, and he's going to start on that front axle 1 left area. He's going to be checking tire tread. He's going to be checking rims, lugs, making sure they're all secure. If there's any cracks in the rims, he'll be checking the hubs. If a hubcap's missing, that's an out of service. So he'll be checking suspension up there, the brake chambers. He'll be checking the lining thickness, which has to be less than a 1/4 of an inch to be out of service. So he'll be checking that. Tire tread on a steer axles, less than 2/32. So anything less than 2/32 would be an out of service tire. So he's going to be checking that. He's got a tire tread gauge that he'll use. Once he's done with checking that front axle area, he'll start moving down along the side of the trailer, and it's going to be similar to what the pre-trip has done. So he'll check if a fuel tank's over here, he'll check that. He'll check the air tanks for securement, make sure they're secure, the air lines. He'll get to the glad hands area, start checking those, listening for air leaks. When he gets to the corner up there, obviously this is an intermodal container, he'll start checking the anchor points. Once he's done checking that, making sure it's secure. Again, with the axle and the tire, he'll start checking rims, hubs, tires, load securement. He'll be checking the fifth wheel. Fifth wheel, he'll be checking if there's a gap between the trailer and the fifth wheel. There shouldn't be a gap there. A lot of times we'll get a call of an accident. Truck driver will be driving down the road and he'll be like, I thought I had a trailer back there, and he didn't lock it in properly or he didn't seat it properly. So check the fifth wheel. He'll check the slider, if it's a sliding fifth wheel or one of those automatic ones, checking for air leaks back there, making sure the fifth wheel's secure, checking mud flaps, anything that's loose. And then from here, he'll get to the middle, checking lights, obviously. He's going to be checking the frame, cross members of the frame, looking for any cracks, bent frame. And as he gets back to the trailer axle back there, he's going to again do the same things, checking tires, rims, hubs, brake chambers, axles. He'll be checking the leaf springs, U-bolts, making sure that's all secure. Some of the violations we'll find on these, on the brakes is the seals will break. Once the seal breaks, you got obviously that oil. That oil will get into the brake chamber drum area, which will cause a problem, and you will end up having a out of service condition. For a truck like this, it's got 10 brakes. It's required to have 20%, so 2 or more would be an out of service brake, as well as brake adjustment, which we'll get into here in a few. Tire pressure, he's typically not going to get his tire pressure gauge out and check the tire pressure. Only if there's evidence of something's, the tire looks like it's flat, it looks like it's real low. It could be because of the weight, maybe he's carrying too much. But only in those cases, then the inspector will grab the tire tread or the pressure gauge to check the tire pressure. And it's for an out-of-service condition, it's 50% of what's rated on the tire. So if it's less than 50%, then that would be an out-of-service condition.
Again, once we get to the back of the truck, we'll check the load securement in the corner there. Then I'd be in the back of the vehicle. Again, the driver would have his lights on. We check all his clearance lamps, ID lamps, turn signals, brakes on the rear of the truck. Once we completed that, we'd come back up front and we'd work on, have the driver release his brakes once he's chocked up, and then we get ready to start measuring his brakes.
So here we're going to get, he already went, like he said, on the other side. He's checked everything he did on this side. He's checking it on that side. From here, he's going to talk to the driver, explain to him he's going to get under the vehicle, make sure the driver knows that he's getting under there, because last thing we want to hear while we're under there is the truck starting for some reason. So you probably won't have a happy trooper on your hands if that happens. In this case here, he actually had the driver take the key out, place it on the step there. There's a couple different ways we can measure the brakes. I was talking to Craig earlier. He likes to mark the brake, so he'll mark the brake, the push rod, where it comes out of the chamber. I like to measure it from the face of the chamber to the clevis pin or one of the nuts on the slack adjuster or on the push rod. So then I'll take a measurement with it to the clevis pin, whereas he'll just mark everything, and then he'll come back and get a measurement from that mark to get his. Couple of different brake chamber sizes. There's 24s and 20s, typically 1 3/4 inch limit that's required. If it's over that, it'll be an out of service. Usually from axle 2 on back, it's going to be a 30 size chamber. You'll have a long stroke. Long stroke will have a trapezoidal tag. It'll be like a little triangular object on the brake chamber. That'll help us determine that it's a long stroke. If it's a long stroke, it's 2.5 inches, so it's a little bit longer. So it's important for us to know that. Another way we can determine if it's a long stroke is if we can see the marking on this is pretty good, but most trucks aren't this clean. You're not going to be able to determine that from the brake chamber. And then the last thing, there'll be square ports where the actual air hose goes into the chamber. There'll be a square port. So that's another way we can determine that.
Again, I'm just going to make it very clear to the driver. I'm going to make sure that he has at least 100 pounds of air in the system. I make sure that I have the keys out of the vehicle. All his brakes are released. The vehicle's chalked up. We're on a flat level surface. And then I'll let him know that I'm going to be going under the vehicle to mark all of his push rods.
So here he's going to go underneath. He's going to be checking again the same things we talked about earlier, except he's going to be underneath now. He's got a better view of a lot of stuff that he can't see from walking around it. That'll be the difference between our level 1 and our level 2. Level 2 is just going to be the walk around. Level 1 is going to actually be getting underneath. He'll still be checking a lot of the same things. He's going to be checking frame, tires, hubs, leaks. So he'll get the measurements. He'll record them all. He'll go on back from each axle, axle 2, axle 3.
Once all the brakes are marked, what I'll have the driver do is just have one application. He'll press the brake pedal down one time and hold it. And again, I'll start at the front, work my way all the way back, and take all my brake measurements. As we're under there taking the brake measurements and marking, again, we're taking another look at all of the frame parts, the suspension parts. Again, this is equipped with air suspension. All your brake linings, brake drums, looking for any type of cracks or anything like that. So as we're under there marking and measuring, we're still looking at all the steering, suspension, braking components. Once everything checks out okay, then what we'll do is we'll usually come up front here and remove the emergency side air line. When we pop it off, the trailer brakes should set, and we'll wait for the tractor protection valve to pop, which would pop out would also set the truck tractor brakes. Once that's completed, what I'll do is give the driver his key back. He can turn his key on, and that's a good time for us to check his low air warning device.
If there's an audible signal that's working and no visual, so the audible's working, the no visual, it'll be a violation. If there's a visual signal on the low air warning device but no audible, it's no violation. So the audible is not required by the regs. But if there's no visual and no audio, then it is an out of service condition at that point. We're really big into, making sure we know what we're doing, getting it from the book, and only placing a vehicle out of service when, the regs tell us we have the authority to do it.
Everything's been checked on the truck, everything checked out okay. We'll make sure the driver's brakes are set. We'll have him close his hood. He could hook up his emergency side air line. If the vehicle had no violations for critical inspection items, he'd receive CVS decals from us. The decals are good for the month they're issued and the next 2 months. So we should be pretty much get the green light from a random roadside inspection for that time period. Unless he's doing something wrong or we notice something wrong, then we can stop him and re-inspect him.
So the chassis would get a decal, the truck tractor would get a decal. He could get one for the truck and not the trailer, depending on the violations. You can have some violations and still get a decal. So if there's like an ID lamp that's out, it's not a critical item, you can still get the decal. So depending on what it is, You can still get the decal for it.
Once the inspection was completed, obviously this was a hazardous material, so we would probably end up having the driver come in the back and then open up the back of the container for us so we can go in there and inspect the hazmat load.
So then he'll get in the back, check the load, make sure the load's secure, make sure nothing's shifting, make sure the hazmat package is not leaking, make sure it's, you know, proper package for the hazmat. Quick thing on the load as far as the seal. The seal, I know a lot of drivers get all upset about, you know, you need to sign my paperwork, and State Police, the Illinois State Police doesn't sign the shipping papers of the driver. The only thing we do is we document on our inspection report, we'll document the tag that was removed, the number, the time, with the date. The new tag, we'll actually put an Illinois State Police tag with a number on it, place that on the trailer, we'll seal it back up, time, date it, give the driver the inspection report at the end with our signature, and he'll have his signature on there. So that's the way we document it so that it's all good to go.
Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. The driver got away without being arrested today. We appreciate it.